Hello. So, long promised I said I would do cock-a-leekie soup. I did a lot of research about this and thinking, so my job is to present this to you to show that you can do this soup as well. It's not hard, it's not difficult, it is time consuming, and it can be a little bit messy. The cock-a-leekie soup is a delicious soup, it's amazing, and the only reason I know is because my footage got corrupted from the first time, so this is the second time I'm filming it. My job is always to show that if I can do it, you can do it too. So let's get into the recipe and see what we need. We're going to start with a 3-pound chicken. We're going to get a pound or so of leeks, 4 pints of water, about 4 ounces of soaked prunes sliced into strips, and some salt and pepper. The chicken was traditionally, let's say for example, an old boiling fowl near the end of its life. We can just buy one from a supermarket, that's what I did. After you've gathered all your ingredients, you can pretty much work in everything at once. So just get the chicken into a big pot that can hold it and the liquid. Get the leeks and slice as much as you can into a green section and a white section. We're going to use the green section just now and slice that into strips and pieces and break it up. Main reason you want to slice it the way I did is just so you can separate them all, because leeks are so dirty even on the inside, and dirt is not a good soup seasoning. So slice them as much as you can and place them in a bowl or a pot or something of water just to soak them, and try and wash out as much as you can. Just get your fingers in there, move them all around and knock out as much of the dirt as possible. After that, just add the leeks to the pot, and we're going to add about 4 pints of water as I said before. If you don't feel it's covering the chicken enough, you can add a little bit more, it's not the end of the world. So I did research and some reading, and even this book, the Scots Kitchen, didn't even give quantities or like exact measurements for the items. It just said bunches of leeks, a chicken. You can either use stock or you can not use stock. So don't feel tied down if you end up with a little bit more leeks or a little bit less leeks, slightly smaller chicken, slightly larger chicken, it's perfectly fine. Just go with it. And don't forget to add a bay leaf in here as well. When we get to the cooking stage, we're going to stick it on the cooker, bring it up to a boil, but turn it down to a simmer pretty quick, and don't put a lid on. But we're going to leave it sitting there for as long as the chicken takes to cook. Now some guides and different recipes such as BBC Good Food said to go up to 4 hours. No, you'll just destroy everything that's in there. I mean, you might extract more from the chicken, but the only thing you're going to extract at that point is fat, and you'll just have to skim it all off anyway. The traditional Scottish recipes book said to go for between 2 and 3 hours. I found 2 more than enough. I did actually probe this one while I was cooking, and it was coming out as perfect temperature, even above the perfect temperature, after like an hour and a half. So I gave it like an extra 10 minutes to be safe, turned the heat off and let it sit for 10 minutes. Chicken was cooked all the way through, no pink flesh, and job's done. And then while that was all happening, I sliced up the white part of the leeks and did the same thing where I placed them in some salted water to again clean and soak and get in it, make sure all the dirt is taken off, and it'll stop them going off while I'm cooking. I did also add some prunes to this one as it was suggested. I felt they would add some colour and everything to the recipe. Am I sure what they do? No, I don't have a clue, but they didn't seem to ruin it when I put them in, and they're not a huge a huge addition to the taste. They're very subtle. I just soaked them in some water, left everything, and did my first phase of cleanup. The next stage is after everything is up to temperature. You want to get the chicken out, hold it above the pot as much as you can, and just try and let as much of that liquid drop back into the pot. I did that, and it still was leaking everywhere and going all over the counter and going onto the floor, and the dog was having a whale of a time licking that up. That's his day made. I then used a colander to sieve out all the pieces of leek that were in the soup. You can leave them in. Some places have said that's fine, but in my opinion they were way too slimy. They're not going to be edible. Their job is done. Get them out. They're very easy to get out, and there's no excuse for leaving them in. Then you're going to take the chicken and cut off as much of the meat as you can. If you're not an expert like me, then just do what you can. Just like pull it off with a knife and a fork, put it all in a bowl, chop up any large pieces like the breast meat into smaller pieces, and that's that done. You could perhaps use this mess again, but I don't feel the need. This is going in my food waste bin, which annoyingly has just been collected, so that's going to be sitting there for 2 weeks. That's going to be, that's going to go moldy, isn't it? Joys. So you should have your broth that you've been cooking, the leeks that are ready to go in, the prunes that are ready to go in, combine them all together, add a generous amount of salt and pepper at this initial stage, but you are going to have to retaste it and figure out that it needs a lot more. And that's fine, but don't need to add too much at an early stage. You can always keep adding more, but you can never take it out. After they're all combined together, you're going to want to put them back in the hob for maybe 15 to 30 minutes. Keep it on a very low heat, don't let it boil or anything like that, usual rule. When I made it last time, I noticed that it got a lot darker on the second day. You know, this was enough of a portion for 2 meals for 2 people. Don't worry if it looks very blonde and very white and pale and everything at the moment. It will darken up around the second time. Serve it with bread and butter, and that's it. What I'd say about making this is, yeah, it can be faffy. There's a lot of downtime, you know, while the chicken's cooking away. I didn't particularly enjoy the mess that the chicken made when I was trying to get all the flesh out. But I can see why this recipe has survived for several hundred years. It's only 2 main ingredients with a couple of side ingredients. You should try it too. There's no reason not to make it. Chicken and leeks aren't expensive ingredients.
Good soup.
I can feel all the pain and sadness leaving my body. Joke's on you, Greg. You're going to have to go back and edit all this and hear the sound of you crunching leeks between your teeth that are a little bit undercooked. But even undercooked, still delicious, still amazing. Well, I've got some cleanup to do. That's the joys of making cooking videos. So, don't be a stranger. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.